So today is December 15th, Monday, 2025. It is now 12:33. And I will be calling the meeting to order for the Windham School District. So what we have to discuss from the gate is clearly we just had an interruption where things ran behind. The meeting was scheduled for 12. It is now 12:33. So I just want to find out from folks here that understand that we do value your time, and that this is very important information we need to move forward on, and what people's thoughts are with how this meeting should take place. Is this something folks want to have us begin the meeting, or is this something where because the time has changed, that people would like us to reschedule? So
Yeah,
I would just like to open that up.
yeah, and I'd like to just say I'm the reason for the meeting change. So I had a work emergency that pushed back the meeting, and I do apologize to everyone. It's one of those things that I can't predict. Yeah, this is during a work day, but we're here now, and yeah, if there's any concerns towards that, feel free to let us know.
So are there any hands of folks that want us to push this meeting off, or should we move forward with our business?
I think that if anyone was unable to make it because of the delay, because people scheduled it during their lunchtime, we should maybe think about that.
Sure.
Thank you, David. And for our minutes, they're not here. So what I'm going to do quickly is a roll call of folks that are on. So we have Al McLean, Bob Tebow, Dan Roth, Heidi Russ, Kate Fellows, Alexis Mayakowski, Bridget Corby, I'm going to assume, Crystal Corview, David Lewis, Eric Mayakowski, Greg Frost, Lee Corella, Michael Pelton, Sarah Edelman. Okay, and myself, Abigail Pelton. Is there anybody else that has comment? Oh, Bruce. What's your last name, Bruce?
Geary.
Geary?
Geary.
Geary. Bruce Geary is here at the school with me. There he is. So that's the folks that are in attendance for right now. Because if I'm hearing Dave saying there's concerns that people had to leave and maybe might not be able to attend, but we also have quite a large group of people that are here currently. So I would like to move forward if possible.
I know we're missing Stormy Gordon. Her lunch break ended at 12:30, so she couldn't join. So I know there's one we're missing, but just so it's on record.
Okay. So I'm not hearing people raising their hands or showing interest in putting this off. So I'm gonna move this
Bridget.
along, and we're gonna keep moving forward.
Bridget had her hand up.
Quickly, but
Oh.
Yeah, Bridget, if you had something.
Yeah, go ahead, Bridget, if you have something.
No, I'm good. You don't have to put it off.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Right, so we are going to start off with correspondence. I got an email from, I don't know if I or all of us got it. I'm just going to read it real quick. If I can get my computer to work. Here it goes. Okay, so this came from B. Eliastem. That is she's our town clerk. So dear school board members, I won't be able to attend tomorrow's special school board meeting, so I'm writing to share my thoughts on the importance of the Windham school bus. Since moving here 7 years ago, I have been a sporadic attendee of the Windham school board meetings. Despite my irregular attendance, the one consistent theme I have heard over the years is how essential the school bus is to our residents. It is clear that this is a service our town deeply values. I've spoken to residents who view the bus as a lifeline. During the time when expenses are rising, parents rely on this service to ensure that they can get to work and support their families. Removing this option would have real negative consequences on the livelihoods of many caregivers in town, particularly those balancing seasonal or part-time work. In the short time I have served as town clerk, I have received no less than 5 phone calls from prospective residents inquiring about the school and transportation options in town. Having a school bus matters to Windham residents, potential residents, and neighbors alike. I hope the board will recognize the school bus as an essential service that it is, and ensure it remains available to our community. Warmly, B. So that's the correspondence I have received. Is there other correspondence that either Kate or Dan would like to share?
I have one from Anne Marie Baxter. I'm reading it off my phone because I'm one screened. Uh, to whom it may concern, hello, my name is Anne Marie Jones. I'm David and Ben's mom. I'm writing today to express my actual fear over taking the Windham bus away. I've contemplated every scenario and always land on I can't afford that. We will have to move. I'm a single mom. I take great pride in being able to provide a happy home, clean clothes, and full fridge for my boys. We are living the dream right now, actually. We get up, have breakfast, they get on the bus, I go to work. I get out of work shortly after the boys get home. I cook and we eat as a family every night. I'm not bragging. I struggle most months to make ends meet, but life really is great. The three of us are quite happy with this routine. The time and gas it would cost for our family for me to drive from our home to Windham to school in Townsend every morning and afternoon is unfathomable. At an absolute minimum, I would lose 10 hours of work a week. Realistically, I'd lose my whole job. I have a hard time believing our family is the only one that would experience true hardship over the loss of public transportation for our children. I'll spare you the paragraph about most Windham kids already having a pretty rough experience with public school. Our family needs a school bus. We rely on it. It is fundamental for me to continue to provide food, heat, and shelter for my boys. Please don't take our bus. Sincerely, Anne Marie, David, and Ben.
Thank you. Any other correspondence? All right. Hearing none, we can move along to public comment. Are there folks here for public comment?
I'd like to say something.
Okay. So there's David, and then I see Crystal, Bridget. Let me write this down. And then Alan. So go ahead, Dave.
Mine's real quick. I just want to back up everything that was pretty much said in that letter to you guys. That's definitely the concern of mine as well. That's about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Go ahead, Crystal.
I think I would just ask that moving forward, items as big as this not be discussed unless they are on the agenda. Because all the feedback I got was I didn't see transportation on the agenda. So I think if you're going to discuss something that's not on the agenda, push it out until you get it on there.
Can I respond to that, Abby?
Yeah.
I wanted to second that. I was unable to attend the meeting on Thursday and then woke up Friday and was a little confused. So I don't know if the board can come up with a criteria for adding things. I know stuff happens where sometimes that's what has to be done, but I'm suspecting there's a more efficient system for bigger items like this, and that way we can plan further out for them.
So, and if I can add to that as well, so the change to the transportation is part of, there's two budgets. So there's a budget with transportation and a budget without transportation. So that's where that was coming from, Crystal. Bridget, go ahead.
Thank you. So I just want to start by saying that I don't actually use the bus. I have the luxury of being able to drive the boys to and from school because I work down here. So I'm kind of taking the approach of the perspective of an employee down here and advocating for everyone else. And I think that if the bus is taken away, it would be a huge disadvantage to all of our kids. We have usually one day a month or once every 6 weeks that Cord can't drive, and it's a pretty big deal. We have a lot of kids that have a hard time getting to and from school, and if we lose the Windham bus coming down the hill, it's going to put all of our families at a huge disadvantage. I also know that we have Cord who's willing to drive our kids up and down Windham Hill in crazy weather, and we don't have anyone else that's willing to do that. West River won't go up Windham Hill, so we're really lucky to have that right now. So I think from the fact that we have him doing that for us, and from a safety perspective, we had some pretty crazy snow the other day, and he's getting our kids to school, and so to take that away, we actually have a full bus of kids, and so it's super important, and all of our families are just going to be losing out if we don't have that transportation option anymore. So I'm just really hoping that the bus is not taken away from our kids So thank you.
Thank you, Bridget. Go ahead, Alan.
Hi, this is for information, please. How many trips does Cord make each day down to Townsend? That's the first question.
I mean, he goes down and up once in the morning and once in the afternoon.
Two.
So the elementary school kids and the high school kids go on one trip?
One trip down, one trip up.
The elementary school time is the same time as the school? High school, usually they're different times.
There's a 15-minute, one's let out at 2:30, one at 2:45, but
Oh, okay. So
it's in both directions, but yeah.
in other words, there are 2 round trips per day coming from Windham to Townsend.
Yes.
Okay, that was my first question. I noticed on the budget that the cost for the school bus is calculated at 70 cents per mile. I wondered how you came to that amount because I looked up online and for school buses, it's $1.30 per mile. And I was wondering how you came up with a figure of 70 cents.
So that's a really great question, and I think we will get to that when we are actually get to Heidi discussing the budget. Is that okay to wait till then, Alan?
That'll be all right.
Awesome, thank you. I had Eric Majakowski next. Is he still got his hand up or here? Did we lose Eric?
He's on here still.
Well, his hand was up, but I have, I guess, Michael Pelton.
Hello. Sorry, I'm running. I just wanted to say that I think it's great to see lots of people in the audience today. I think personally that Windham has made a decision to transport students for a long time. I think it would be a shame if it went away. And I think that it's fantastic that people are jazzed up because what they really need to realize right now is that they need to be jazzed up about what's going on in Montpelier right now. Because if and when we are consolidated into another district, the potential for loss of transportation and loss of stipend is very great, shall we say. It may come to the point that we are now part of a new district. We will no longer have a board. We'll have maybe possibly a person on a board, a new board, but it'll only be one voice, probably, hopefully advocating for transportation. But when it comes down to nuts and bolts, I think that it is probably likely they're going to say families can drive the 5 miles to find a bus that is closer to a main route where West River Transportation, for instance, is willing to drive because they're not willing to come to Windham. So if you are highly motivated to continue transportation for Windham students, as I am, I would highly encourage you to start writing your legislature and start keeping track of what's going on in Montpelier, because if we're consolidated into this southeast district or whatever, who knows which direction it ends up going, we're probably going to lose it. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Go ahead, Kate.
I would love clarification on this as your newest board member who has never done a budget before. The timeline of a district merging, in my understanding, does not coincide with the timeline of next year's budget. So I understand, Michael, what you're saying, that there is something to be concerned, of course, but if we're talking about just for the next fiscal year, that isn't something that we are planning on. So I'm confused about why we're talking about removing the bus now, and maybe somebody can explain that to me better.
Yes, so I think that we can get into that when we get into the budget. So we're still under public comment, and I want to be able to move this along. But that is a very good question, Kate, and we'll make sure you have the answer to that, okay? Sarah E., and then we're going to move along unless I see some other hands up here. Go ahead, Sarah.
Hey, it's been a while. Miss you all. This whole transportation piece has been causing a lot of stress here at our home front, to the point of where we are considering homeschooling yet again, because Windham has had so much school drama over the past X amount of years that it's exhausting. And just to Kate's question for a hot second, and it's an opinion piece. So when the budget comes, please, clarify. It just feels like all of us Wyndham parents have been getting groomed for X amount of years, that it's like first the school closes and now the consolidation slash transportation is on the table. And then it's like, if transportation does go away now, and it's like, now are we busing our kid, or not busing, self-driving our kids to Brattleboro potentially? And it's like, there's so much chaos and stress happening. It's like all these little baby steps to like really what's the bigger picture. So my point is that getting rid of the bus is detrimental all around. Thanks.
Thank you, Sarah. So moving on to changes to the agenda, I am going to add under new business before we leave that we're discussing the Zoom. So we'll put that as number 3 under new business. And anybody else have any other changes to the agenda? Okay, so moving on, Kate, would you be willing to share the survey results with us, please?
I can. As a co-host, do you want me to try to share my screen, or in the interest of time, do you want me to summarize?
I am got all the time in the world for everybody here, so I don't know what folks think. It's you put a lot of work into this. If you want to share your screen, go for it. Might
Yeah,
make
see,
sense for
share
people to
screen.
see it.
Yeah. Makes it more tangible. You don't see the option?
Where is it? Where do I hit the button?
There should be just a big share underneath here.
So the share,
I got
there's
it.
next to AI companion and chat.
Okay.
Yep.
Can everybody see?
Yep.
Okay. So this was a survey that I sent out in October in regards to writing a task force poll, but it's applicable now, and I'll go over it briefly. We had 23 responses. The reason why I wanted to bring it up today is because I wanted to highlight there is information here that is important about what direction Windham folks wish their children to go. But in addition to the choice being a really important decision for Windham parents, transportation was a really big consideration. There are some folks that it was not as important to, but you have over 50% stating that it is a very important component of our district and function. So I wanted to highlight that from a very fact-based place, that of the 23, that's where they are. And of because the parents in the town, it's a taxpayer's conundrum. So I'm aware that it's not just about what the parents need. But of the 8 parents included in that question, 4 of them listed it as very important, and then going down from there. So that was also the scale for parents that were concerned about that well. And I just want to make sure everybody knows that I hear that. It's voted on in this poll. I hear it in this conversation. So that's what I wanted to point out before we continue the conversation. I will stop sharing.
Hey, Bob, did you have a question?
Not about this, not about the presentation. I just wanted to let you know, because of the delayed start, I have to absolutely leave at 1. So if there's anything you need me for in advance, please do that before I have to leave in 8 minutes.
Cool. Thanks, Bob.
Thanks, Bob. Okay, so again, hold on, I'm sharing the screen with Bruce here because don't have my power cord for my laptop, so I switched to my phone. Okay. Thank you, Kate, for that. And with that information, thank you to all the families that participated in that survey. In the numerous letters that I have sent, as well as other people in the community, we have used data from that survey. So thank you very much to everyone that participated in that, because those numbers are incredibly important. And thank you, Kate, for making sure that all got completed. So moving on to new business. The budget fiscal year 27. Heidi, there you go. You got this. Thank you.
Thanks, Abby. since there's so many people on this meeting and they weren't here for the original budget presentation, I'm just gonna go over this real quick. I sent two budgets on Thursday. I presented the budget, the non-operating budget that was similar to the current year. Tuition has been a little higher than anticipated. And the other than tuition and the assessments to the SU with the board expenses to transportation is the other piece. It was at that meeting that we discussed the Windham board's letter to West River asking for more reimbursement for transporting the secondary students. And I was at a meeting and saw an email back to Abby from the board indicating they'd like the board to come back with an amount that they would like. And that is my response was to reshare the May memo, which I have shared again with the attachments that I believe are attached to the meeting warning. I will say, to answer Alan's original question, the use of the federal mileage rate I used because my predecessor had used it. I was not aware, Alan, that there is a bus mileage cost. So thank you for bringing that to my attention. I think the important thing to know is that the board has been suggested to use that information to ask for more work to be done, to go back to the West River board, but that has not happened as of yet. At that meeting, I was asked to create a second budget without transportation. I did point out with the budget that I prepared with transportation that there is revenue that comes in based on the transportation expense. Currently, West River pays $7,800 and has for the last few years for busing secondary students down to Townsend. And the state has a transportation subgrant that comes into the SU that gets sent out to the individual school districts. And currently, the portion that goes back to Windham is $11,500. So Windham receives about $20,000 towards their expense of a bus that is around, well, it's under $40,000. In the budget number one that I presented, I did not have stipends in there, and Abby pointed that out in an email to me the following day and asked me to put the stipend back in and to put in a stipend for transportation of students in the non-bus draft number 2. So I have done that. So in the current budget with bus transportation and a stipend that is set at $1,400 with an approximate usage of 5 families, your bottom line of your budget expenditure, which is what the number you would vote on, is $598,130. I have a tax calculator that I use based on information from the state. Yes, that is the page, Abby. Thank you for putting that up there. That gives.
It's Dan, but yeah, yeah, I saw that in there. Yeah, and may I ask a question, or is it should you just get through the rest of it and then
whatever the board prefers? So whatever you think.
Yeah, I mean, based on the two calculations, or the two budgets, number one and number two, it looks like we lose out of money.
So when Abby emailed me about the stipend, I responded and asked about how much to put in the second draft budget because there's so many families that could potentially utilize the stipend for transporting their own child. So when I looked into how many different families there are in the elementary level, it was 17 that are currently in some sort of private or public school. So in the second budget, in the second draft, I put in the equivalent of $1,400 to 17 different families.
Okay.
You also lose the revenue from West River and revenue from the state. So that actually raises the bottom line of your second budget Well, it lowers the expenditures, I should say, but it also reduces your offsetting revenue. So the tax implications for a budget without bus transportation is actually 2 cents on the tax rate higher.
I saw that. Yeah, I think that's
In
interesting.
the bus with the
So
revenue from the state, from West River.
just to clarify, the 17, is it 17 students or 17 families that send kids to independent school?
17 families.
And this is K
What?
through 6.
I'm not saying to independent schools. I'm saying there's
Oh.
17 families, and if you did not have bus transportation, I'm assuming you'd have that stipend available for public and private students.
Right. Okay. So that's where I was confused. I thought it was independent schools. And I was like, I don't think that that's right. So thank you for clarifying.
So yes, the tax rate without bus transportation, along with an estimated tax rate with the West River budget, because I remind you that you will notice on the tax calculator that according to the state, the number of students that are in the elementary level are 69.52% this year, and 30.48% are in the high school or in secondary. So you pay a tax rate from West River's budget for secondary, and you pay a portion of that based on that 30.48%. And after the 139 of the state adjusted 139% of the state adjusted CLA, the tax rate based on an estimated number from West River is 42 at 0.425. And then you have your tax rate from Windham based on your current budget with the 69% split. That comes down to a total of 1.247 without bus transportation.
Yeah.
And the tax calculator with the bus transportation is 1243. So it's actually just not quite 2 cents. It's actually less than 2 cents. It's going to be about a penny.
Yeah, so just to add on to what you're saying, I mean the difference between budget 1, which is with bus, and budget 2 without bus, the tax rate's not much different. But that said, this is budget number 1, and I think it's important to discuss of the line 17, that tax rate as well as this tax rate. So 1.6355, 1.243. When we add, or when we take away the bus, our tax rate actually goes up to 1.6443 and 1.247. So at least from a budgetary standpoint, it makes sense to keep the bus just based on that of we're losing out on revenue that offsets those expenditures on the bus. Plus, we've already traded in the bus and gotten a new bus.
So the have gone down.
Yeah, exactly. So
We didn't get it traded in. We don't know where that's a whole other question as to where the bus is.
Is Greg still on the meeting? Because he can speak to the bus.
Oh, okay. Well, sorry about that.
One last thing to point out is it's 2 cents on your tax rate more than the current fiscal year. So your tax rate, and you'll see that on the first tax rate, well, on either of the calculators, for the comparison purposes, FY26, 1.2208, and you're looking at 1.243 or 1.247, depending on how you decide about transportation.
Okay, so our tax rate is kind of leveling off.
Yeah, and I
put tuition.
I put the increase based on a $300,000 house site value on that sheet because that was requested at our meeting on Thursday. So you can see that increase, for instance, with the bus, the first draft with the bus increase on a $300,000 house at $58.83 annual. The other one was $71.99. Yes.
Yep. So budget 1 looks like the more attractive one for sure. And just go back to it. Here's the comparisons. So 2 years ago, 1.532, and then 1.2208 was our last year's. So we're hitting about the same tax rate. Which I think speaks to our district since 2025 kind of leveling off and our post CLA being more normal.
And the difference, Dan, is that you were operating a school in 25.
Exactly.
Or trying to, and then you went to non-operating for 26.
Yeah, so we're probably in this hump of about 1.2 for future budgets. Cool.
Excellent. So, now that is there more that you want to discuss, Heidi, before I kind of try to answer Kate's question? Oh, and Michael Pelton has a question. Go ahead, Michael.
Michael, are you there?
You're muted, Michael. If there
Sorry,
you go.
everything was all froze up. I didn't know what was going on. I apologize. I guess I just have sort of in line with Al's earlier commentary. I'm wondering if you can explain or discuss the revenues generated by the I think it's like $7,800. I could be wrong. By the other district, like they're paying you $7,800, and I think I heard something about 11,000 earlier too. I'm sort of confused as to what that looks like. I think, as I recall, there was some mileage. That was the mileage was supposed to be the basis historically, and then all of a sudden it looks like the mileage has changed. I know that years ago, and when I say years ago, within the last, probably 5, 6 years, it used to be like $11,000 was what that was, and then all of a sudden it changed based on mileage to 7,800. So I'm wondering what that looks like now and what it's going to look like in this budget. Thanks.
So I can tell you historically, my predecessor had Cord do a analysis of the daily round trip mileage. And at the time, the Windham bus was making 2 bus runs. One was specific to bringing secondary students down the hill for Leland and Gray, and the other was specific to Windham students going to the elementary school. I can't speak to before her. We've not found any historical data, but she based it on a mileage amount, and the board accepted that. That is what she shared with me. Certainly the mileage rate, even using the federal rate, has gone up. And that is why I put together this informational sheet showing that potentially you can ask for more from West River. However, there's just one bus run that does both elementary and secondary at the same time. So I don't know if that would impact it. That would be between the 2 boards, which is what I believe Bob mentioned, is the board should communicate with each other and make some decisions. I'm happy to do more of an analysis, but I haven't been asked yet. I think that it's important. So what was done at the time of the analysis by my predecessor, Lori, the determination was 7,800 based on the federal mileage rate. You also I fill out information about all transportation for the AOE every year using everybody's expenses. And the AOE gives back about 46% of the cost back to the school districts. It comes into the Windham Central with a explanation of how to distribute it between the school districts, depending on the cost of each school district. So they give me that, and you get 11,500 currently from the state towards your expenses. So as a total, you get around 20,000 towards your $37,000 expense of bus expenses, maintenance, as well as your bus driver and gasoline.
Where is that captured in the budget?
So in the budget, it's the last section, 27, right there.
Oh, sorry.
No, go down.
Yep.
This last section says 2711 transport, and it has all the expenses on the column that's third from the right is for the fiscal year we're looking at. The only cost that's not a bus expense is the 7,000, which is the stipend amount the board requests to be in the budget for families that are not going to Townsend.
Okay.
I'm just gonna interrupt and kind of change the subject real quick. If Greg is still on, we have somebody here getting water samples, and is that still required at this point now that the building is uh no longer a school?
Yeah, you're still a public water operation, public water system. And I believe that is the town that is working with him, not the school,
Oh, okay. Is
because we
that what your
don't have
hand?
a contract with him currently.
Perfect. Is that what your hand was up for, Michael? Unless we lost him.
No, I don't know anything about the town doing water samples.
He did say to tell Greg to say hi. So I just don't know. I want to make sure we're not incurring a cost if the town didn't order it. That's all.
Yep.
Sorry. Thank you. I mean,
Okay. Were there any other questions on, oh, Michael, you still have questions about transportation?
Yeah, I just wanted to follow up with the transportation piece again. Sorry, I'm sort of trying to figure it out a little bit. So when I listened to the meeting, not your board meeting, but the board meeting that was discussing the transportation piece, to me, it sounded like the other board basically said, you guys, as in the SU, have a conversation and figure it out. And what I'm hearing is that the SU said, no, you guys have to figure it out. And then I'm also hearing that there's a quote unquote long standing verbal agreement that the other district is paying for transportation based on mileage. And I'm also seeing that Heidi did some new calculations based on a federal mileage, which has gone up. And therefore, if we are using the quote unquote long standing mileage metrics, then the amount that the other district should be paying to this district should in fact go up beyond that whatever it is, 7,800 or whatever it is. So I'm wondering if the board slash Heidi might be able to make that adjustment and increase it from 7,800 to whatever the current calculation is. Thanks.
thank you, Michael. I also want to clarify, I did just speak to the gentleman and he said Cord sent him, so it is through the town. So no worries, Greg. Thank you. So what would, Heidi, would you be able to show us what it looks like with that?
It's not a decision I can make, first of all. It's between the two boards. The reason I did the memo was to give you some data in order for you to work with the West River Board. Crystal has her hand up and may be able to speak to that meeting, but the way I understood it from being there and the follow-up email I saw from Drew Hazelton was to work with me, and therefore I resent the memo stating what I have, and nobody has asked me to reevaluate with any other numbers or with any questions. So I have not been directed by you as a board to do anything further. This, as my understanding, is where it sits. I can't make the decision about how much West River pays you. It's based on the two boards working it out, and I'm happy to give guidance with numbers, but what I've given you is all I have without further guidance or questions or direction.
Okay, thank you. Crystal, go ahead.
As a West River board member, I'm just gonna say our expectation was the Windham board was going to decide on a mileage reimbursement amount, come back to our board and say, this is what we'd like for mileage reimbursement. And then we would vote yes or no. and tell Heidi and Bob to proceed. So nobody's come back to us with an amount, so that's what we're waiting for, is for you guys to come back to us with that amount.
All right. Thank you, Crystal. Greg, I see your hand up.
Yeah, I just thought I would share that from the perspective of boards in general and what transportation is costing, say West River, for example, they're paying substantially more than 70 cents a mile. So, and they're paying more than twice what you're paying for a bus route on average at 17 grand. I mean, that's an insanely good price overall for the cost to operate a bus for your town. And with them all being in one run now and it just being one single run, I mean, the fact that you know what I mean? Like they might even come back and say, we want to pay you less because you've got to make this run for the elementary kids anyways. So like, the fact that you're getting money back seems like a pretty good deal. And like I said, to look at your overall cost of like $17,000 to operate your bus is pretty impressively low. That's a really good cost to operate. So
Just to clarify what you said there, though, we have no obligation to transport the elementary students. We do that because of the urgency that the families are here for today to ensure that there's transportation. When the school closed, we had no obligation to provide transportation. So that is above and beyond on the Windham taxpayers, which is why we're having the discussion.
Oh, I'm well
So,
aware.
thank
I'm well aware. I'm just saying
you.
that as long as you do, that it could be viewed that, hey, these kids just get on that bus because it runs. I mean, we have the same issue with a bus that leaves Townsend or leaves Newfane and goes to Brattleboro for the career center, right? And the Dover kids come down, but they pay to get on that bus, and it's just, and so you are getting paid back, and you are seeing money, and I mean, I think no one says you have to, right? It's not a law in the whole state of Vermont to offer transportation, but people do it because it's the right thing to do. So.
Right. Thank you. Crystal, is your hand still up or did you have something else?
Nope, forgot to put it down.
Okay. Okay. So, is there further conversation to be had about the budgets?
I think budget one looks better than budget two. Yeah, with the bus, it's cheaper than without the bus. Provides a public good. The withstanding issue of the 7,800 coming from, the other district, the other board. My inclination there is that, yes, we could direct Heidi and see what that calculation could look like. But in the scheme of our entire budget, I doubt that number, that delta between the two, even like our budget with or without transportation, I think it's going to be minimal. Like the 7,800, and what if the 7,800 is less, to Greg's point, which then just opens us to lose revenue because we have a more accurate number.
Right. So I see Alan and Eric and Sarah. Eric, we lost you. You had your hand up before, so I'm gonna have Eric go first, then we'll do Alan, then Sarah. So go ahead, Eric. You're muted if you're talking.
I could try to unmute you.
There you go.
Do you hear me?
Yes, we can.
I'm just curious, if the budget's so close with either or, right?
Mhm.
Who on the board wanted to even bring this up, that it's such a big deal to cancel the bus if the budget is so close? So who
Well,
on the board thought, okay, look, it's that close, let's get rid of the bus? Like, who on the board thought that was a great idea?
So no one, I believe, on the board, and I can speak fairly probably confidently with the other one, wants the transportation to go away. Nobody wants that. Why is it on there? Because we have a lot of concerns as to what's going to happen with our district. Is this something we can advocate
Okay.
as a
Well, that's
board
something we should
for the
probably
budget?
figure out when that happens, instead of all of a sudden thinking, oh, the budget's so close. One of me on this board thinks we should get rid of it. Because if everybody was in agreement, there wouldn't be much of an issue. We disagree on the budget, right? Or am I wrong in this?
So Eric, we didn't know the numbers. We didn't know how close it was going to be without that analysis.
So
I
we
don't think
just found the numbers today. Everybody just learned these numbers today is what we're going with.
I don't know if it's
No,
today, but
3 days ago.
yeah,
Okay.
but we didn't know that there would be an appreciable difference between them, or they're going to be so close. But now we know that
Okay. So
they're pretty
now we
close.
know. So we can pretty much squash this because there's no sense in getting rid of the bus.
I agree with
Right.
that.
So when you guys have your next meeting, you guys agree on the budget with the bus. Is that what we're going with?
I mean, I think
We
that's
may
part
even
of
make
the
that
overall
decision today,
discussion.
Eric.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
I'm just
Yeah.
curious because to me, this
Okay.
is
I personally
kind of
agree.
ridiculous that we're even, now that we know what this is, to even continue. You guys should just vote on the budget with the bus and be done. I mean, I've been sitting here
All
for
right.
an hour and 19 minutes now.
All right.
So
Well, thank you,
where are
Eric.
we at?
Well, stick around if you want to. All right, Alan, go
Yep.
ahead. Thank you, Eric.
Hi, I was just wanting to react to Abby's comment about the term obligation. What I heard, the school board does not have an obligation to transport elementary students. Would you correct me, please?
We do not have the obligation. We do not operate a school. So we are not obligated to provide transportation.
For the high school students, is that the same?
That is a different board. That's West River. That's a different department. So we are K through 6 and we do not have a school. So when the school closed, our obligation as a district to transport was gone. However, West River, the people who do the transportation, West River Transportation, does not provide transportation up Windham Hill. So therefore, we maintained and bought a new bus to make sure that we continue to provide it. But we have to have these conversations because the budget's up and we have to explain that to taxpayers. Does that make sense?
Well, would I be correct in saying that it's a moral decision because it's the right thing to do?
Well, it's also balanced by the budget. So where we have less tax rate having a bus than we do not having a bus. So yeah, it's both a moral, yes, we want that for our community, but also we're getting a cheaper tax rate with the bus. So unless we had issues with the bus or the driver or families, then there's no reason we shouldn't.
Well, as a citizen of Women, I will let my opinion be known that it's really a moral obligation to transport the students from Windham to the school, whichever school it would be. So that's.
I respect that.
I wanted to voice myself on that. Thank you.
Thanks,
you.
Al. Sarah Edelman?
Thanks, Alan. I appreciate you being in agreement with transporting the kids. And I echo Eric's sentiment about let's just vote this and be done. But what my point is for this moment is that earlier it was mentioned that nobody knows what happened to the old bus. And I don't want that to be swept under the rug. And since Greg is here, I would love to hear what happened to the old bus. Thanks.
I'd love to. So the old bus, you had $1,000 offer to trade it in, but that was going to include driving it all the way up to Maine, which you were going to pay cord. By the time you paid mileage and fuel and all that, you weren't going to see nearly that $1,000. And then Reed said, "Hey, well, we'd give you $800 for the tires." The only issue was you had an outstanding bill from all the work that they did do on the bus that we didn't continue to use of $900. So it basically just became a wash. And so we signed the title over to Reed's to scrap the bus, basically in lieu of the bill that we owed them because they were going to sell off the tires. So all in all, it was a win, and it saved us, it saved the mileage of me having to drive and follow all the, up to Maine to follow a cord to pick him up and bring him back. So what I didn't know when we initially made the decision to deal with Reed's was that we had an outstanding bill of $900 that So I thought we were going to see like the $800 for the tires, but that didn't happen because we had an outstanding bill of I think Cord said it was 910. So it just basically became a wash. So the bus is just gone. And so we got the other bus for 50,000, and which has been great. Cord is supposed to pick up the cameras, and then we'll get the new security system installed. So
that's just the tires. What about like the rest of the bus?
they're just scrapping it. I mean, there's not much you can do with it. You're not putting it on the road anywhere.
Yeah, but you would get a revenue from scrapping, wouldn't you?
Not by the time you pay someone to you got to drain all the oil, drain all the gas. You got to put it on a trailer and drive it over to a scrapyard.
Okay, so it made it a wash from that end as
I mean,
well.
yeah, I mean, my dad scrapped cars for 10 years. Yeah.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah, no, it's just, in situations like that, when you get down to that little bit of money, you just say, okay, it's just worth it to have it just be gone, right? I mean, that's your best bet at that point. You just be able to part with it and be done.
So
So
you didn't pay anything to get the body of it, right? Like,
no, I think you had paid to have. I think Cord sent it up for an inspection, so they had done like a full normal fall inspection. Then they said, "Hey, by the way, your inspection failed, and we didn't do any of that work, but we were still going to owe that, basically your annual inspection fee of, general maintenance." I'm sure they had done an oil change and whatnot, and not expecting that we weren't going to do anything with it. So
Okay, so to answer your question, Sarah, the bus got scrapped and it paid against old bills, and
yeah,
that account's essentially zero.
We've washed our hands with it, and we're happy to be done.
Thank you. All right. Is anybody willing to entertain a motion
I would love
on the
that.
budget?
I see Eric's hand is still up. I don't know if he. Oh, it's down now.
Okay.
Alan's hand is up.
Well, okay, go ahead, Alan.
Well, when are we going to discuss the articles?
That's after we get through the budget.
Oh, thank you.
So
I would entertain a motion if you would like to motion.
So to move to approve draft 1 of the budget in the, where did it go? In the amount of $5,098, $5,998, 598,130. They're the numbers. Can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Yeah, just to speak on it, looking at FY26, we're hitting a steady state. It looks like there's going to be changes based on assessments and on tuition, but keeping the bus seems good and cheaper, and we're hitting about the same levels that we did last year. So yeah, I think it's a good budget.
And we can articulate that in town meeting when we're advocating to pass the budget. If somebody says, why are we paying for a bus? And we are not required as a district to do so, we have all of this to back that up and say, this needs to happen. So thank you for everyone for making that known. And again, echoing the concern, we have legislation coming into session in January. And if there's changes to our district, where our district goes away, folks, I hope we see this same passion, because choice goes away, transportation goes away, our voice really gets diminished. You won't be able to hop on here and yell at us the same way. Like, you're not going to be able to have that option. You'll be able to take it to a really large board and have one person representing Windham likely on that board. So please keep that in mind. So all those in favor said aye. Motion carried, right? Did I hear everyone say aye? Aye. Perfect. So we can move along to the articles. So with that information, we can plug into some of the stuff where there's nothing in that was written on the agenda. Article 1, to elect a moderator for a term of 1 year. And then Article 2, this is what we did last year with the treasurer. And it was because every year we were voting, but we have historically always used what is voted at the town. So that was the thought with Article 2. Is there, so that is, shall the electorate of Windham School District ratify the district's longstanding practice of designating the Windham Town Moderator as the moderator of the Windham School District? Shall the electorate of the Windham School District recognize and agree to be bound by the one-year term of the Windham Town Moderator? So that would be that next year, we would not have to worry about that article on the school district report. If we made that decision, we would just follow what the town has. So, Alan, I see your hand is up. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you. The Article 2 at the last town meeting made reference to the practice of designating the Windham Town Treasurer as the treasurer for the Windham School District. I don't see anything in Article 2 referencing the treasurer, or any of the articles reference the treasurer. And I think that perhaps Article 2 should be rewritten to include the role of the town treasurer. Thank you.
Thank you. That is what we did last year. So last year we used very similar language to what we have in Article 2 now, so that we automatically share the treasurer of who is elected by the town. So the town
Oh, it says
treasurer is also ours.
it says moderator.
Yeah, there's wording question about that.
Yeah, so we'll have to
Need to check
change
the question,
moderator
the
to
wording.
treasurer. I believe the
No,
intention, Alan, was
no, the intention is for the moderator, not for the treasurer. We already voted on this last year. So we
I
already
see.
passed the treasurer
Okay, so
last year.
similar. So
This
we don't
year,
have
we
to
have
do.
every year the moderator for the year. We are in sync with the town. So we have voters voting twice on the same thing. So it's a discussion of, do we want to do the same thing we did with the treasurer last year, which is adopt whoever the town elects, and do the same thing for adopting who the town elects for the moderator? We also do not have to. We can have a separate, different moderator, but we historically have followed that suit. So that was the conversation, is do we want to do that for the moderator? Does that make sense?
Where does the information about the town treasurer come in with the current articles?
Yeah, so
We
last
don't have
year,
to. We did it last year, Al. Last year, if you look in the town report, our article was to change from voting for the treasurer every year or 3 years or whatever the case may be, and to use the term with the town of because we've used the same person.
Alan, to answer your question, the article last year is baked into this year. So whoever is chosen at the town level for treasurer, that is our treasurer, the school board's treasurer. This is a separate article in similar language for the town moderator. So who we ratify as the moderator will extend to, do I have that right, Abby?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, it extends from the town to the school. So we already have it for treasurers, so we don't have to put it on this list.
Correct.
I'm not sure why it was not apparent to me, just looking at the articles. That was certainly was not apparent to me. I'm not sure if it would be apparent to anybody else taking a look at that, but
So our treasurer is
I know what
Kathy.
you're saying, but was not apparent to me. Thank you.
Yeah, and we can
That's right. Thank
clarify
you.
it if we need to.
Okay, Article 3, to elect all other officers required by law to be elected for the Windham School District. And same as we had done last year, if Article 2 fails, we would vote on a moderator. If not, we would use the moderator that was selected by the town. And then we have the school district director 3-year term. And Kate, I believe that's you this year because you had filled in.
Yes, I'm finishing
So
Howard's.
finishing out the term. Yep. So so there's that. And Crystal, I see your hand up.
Abby, just to clarify, I do plan on doing my whole term.
Excellent. Thank you, Crystal. Appreciate you. And then, so that's Article 3. Article 4, to compensate the school directors $1,250 each as included in the proposed school budget for 2026-2027. Article 5, shall the voters of the school district approve the school board to expend, where did I put it? 598, 130, which is the amount that the school board has determined to be necessary in the ensuing fiscal year. The Windham School District estimates that this proposed budget, if approved, will result in per pupil education spending of, Heidi, do you know that number?
Yeah, I plug in the numbers.
14,000,
473 is
which is
2.5% higher. So 14,473, which is 2.5% higher.
Fabulous. Thank you. Article 6, shall the voters of the Windham School. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's okay.
Yes.
Somebody can clarify this. Article 4, is that something that we vote on annually? I know it was changed at one point. I think it was last town meeting, but is that that is a vote that we do annually on the compensation?
Yes.
Correct? Okay. And then I just want to be really clear, my term is up and I am serving as director. I thought I was serving as secretary. So I just want to make sure that
we're all school board
it's
directors.
all directors. It's just
that's the standard.
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah.
So, we all have titles, but in my brain, we're all doing the heavy lift here. So, yeah, and this is again, we are a floor voting town. So even though these are the articles that we are approving to put forward, to be put into the town report, and even though there's information on here on the floor, which is what happened, I believe, last year, was people had proposed to change the cost and what the school board made. So it used to be 750 and now it's 1,200. So somebody could change that, but it's not. Right now, we are putting forward the article and that's currently what it's at. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
And I see, Bob, your hand's up. I'm assuming you're probably heading out here.
No, I'm actually back from a meeting, but I do need to head out again. But I just was noting that you're the 2% higher / lower. You have to pick one of those two.
Good point.
Yes. She said higher, so I circled it. Oh, is Dan updating it on the thing as well?
Yeah,
Okay, perfect.
this is WHIP. I do have a question. The 590, should it be 598, Heidi? The total amount? Is that the total amount of expenditures? Or is it the net?
Sorry, I was answering you, but I was muted. Yes, that is the number you need, is the expenditure budget 598, 130.
Okay.
Thank you.
Cool. No problem. Yeah, this is WHIP, Bob. So we'll firm it up.
Okay. And then, so Article 6, shall the voters of the Windham School District authorize moving any operational surplus from fiscal year 25 to the operational reserve fund, which is the fund we created last year, correct, Heidi? That's the new, we no longer have the capital. It is now operational reserve fund. So that is
used in whatever way you need to. Yes.
right. So we have just a bunch of new students or something crazy. We have
exactly
any surplus, we can be able to utilize it. So, and then
FY 26 or FY 25?
They created it last year for fiscal year. They created it and approved it at town meeting last year. So
right,
fiscal year 25.
So in the article, should it say, should it say 26?
It should say 25 because the surplus.
Yeah, it should say 25.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Perfect. And now moving on to Article 7, shall the town of Windham declare that the current statewide education funding system has failed the people of Windham and is no longer capable of providing the equitable and convenient education guaranteed under the Vermont Constitution, and that repeated legislative inaction, including the flawed implementation of Act 73, has produced unsustainable property tax burdens that disproportionately harm small rural towns. Article 8, shall the town direct the school board to formally communicate this position to the Vermont legislature to notify state officials that Windham is prepared to explore all available legal and political avenues to protect its taxpayers and students unless meaningful structural reform is enacted during the current legislative session. So where this is tying into both of these articles is the concern of what's coming up in January. This is the opportunity for Windham residents to vote and make a decision on this concern that we have of what's going to happen if they make Act 73 push forward, that Windham is going to fight for its students and its taxpayers because we are getting hit just like everybody else with the taxes. Act 73 was supposed to really address that, and it hasn't, which is why there is major concern that come January when legislation is active, what is that going to happen to Windham? Because we do not need the rug yanked out where we lose choice, we lose transportation, and we lose our voice. So, are there questions or concerns around these articles? They are not. It is not an actionable thing. We're not doing anything with it. It's really allowing the taxpayers and the voters to make that statement, right? If that makes sense. It's not, we're not doing anything illegal by having that. So there's
No,
that.
I think it is. I would just like it. I think it's worth noting that I don't think Act 73 is going to leave us better than it found us, and I understand that. But it is worth mentioning that there is a potential for something to come out of that that is good. And I do want to hold that as a possibility that there might be a solution here that we, the town, had not considered that does come out of it. So I guess I think those are well written, but I also want to retain flexibility that we don't come in guns blazing before we have all of our information.
We couldn't. There's nothing at this point, but like I said, when January comes around and if we are beginning to see that the legislation is under fire and saying they've got to make changes, our small little town is an easy sweep in, and we are the ones experiencing the fallout from that. And as stated earlier by Sarah, like we're done. The families can't be continuing to go through this. We need stability, we need structure, we know what we can rely on and build up going forward. So that's just where those come from. And then Article 9 to transact any other business that may legally come before this meeting. So again, with what we've gone through with the articles, are there changes? Are there things that we want to do? Are we ready to accept a motion? What are we looking at?
I think Articles 7 and 8 are fine. It's really just communicating to the state, how we feel as a town, more so than anything. The rest of it is pretty standard. We've had these in our previous article list, so I don't see any glaring issues. How do you feel, Kate?
No, I think it looks really standard.
Okay. So with the updates made to Article 5, where we entered in the information.
Al's got his hand
I
up.
made. Oh, yes, Alan.
Hi, I didn't hear Kate's comment. I think she got cut off.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, I think it looks really standard as to what I've seen the last two town meetings that I participated in, and it moves forward. I understand the utility of 7 and 8. I just thank you for putting it on record, my downfall of optimism. So thank you.
Oh,
yeah, I mean, there's some question if 7 and 8 moves the needle at all, but if there's enough other towns, yeah, exactly. It's something, and if there's enough other towns, it's a show of public will. I don't know, could lead to something.
So I will move to approve Articles 1 through 9 as updated. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. And then the last bit of business, and then we can be all done, is the Zoom. So I completely understand, Danielle, the challenges around work and all of that. But I definitely have concerns that, you know, we really need to make sure and
Yeah.
would like to just have the discussion of what are the thoughts of like myself or Kate taking over the Zoom portion.
Is Bob still
And
here? I mean, does
Bob
it
is
make
still here,
sense?
so
Yeah, I believe you guys have a Wyndham Central account, right, Dan? We had you added, IT put you in, so you were the person
Yeah.
running it, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, but I think it's attached to my school board email.
yes,
Yeah,
it
that's what I
is.
mean. Yeah. So, but I
Okay.
think you can also, when you go into the Zoom login and you go into their website, you can actually add co-hosts, alternate hosts. It's at the very bottom, and if you could enter
Yeah.
their names
I
as alternate hosts, they can then start the meeting without you.
I've tried that before. And it's these settings are grayed out for
Oh,
co-hosts. So I've tried to add Abby and I've tried to add Kate, and it won't let me. Like
interesting.
yeah, the Zoom. Maybe it's something your IT can look at. I don't know.
I will reach out to them with that quandary and ask that they add both Abby and Kate's Wyndham Central Board emails as alternate hosts. I don't know if they'll be able to because you're under your email, but maybe
And
they can. I don't know. I'll ask.
instead of having that, could it be that we change from Daniel to having it to myself and then they could be hosts and we can set that up?
Sure.
Yeah, we can change who the primary is. It's just it's
Yeah.
a account switch. Um, but basically both would be good, right? With you, if you're the head, then the two of them are still alternates.
Yeah, and I'm generally here at the building, so if something crazy was to happen, you know, we would have the Zoom and we could potentially even have the in-person all in the same spot. So, um,
No
that's
reason for a
just,
higher. We should have a high bus number. There's no reason not to. So between the three of us, if there's, I know Dan can add us as co-host once he's got it going, but prior to that, we can't.
Yeah.
Yeah. All
You
right.
know,
I'll email IT. I'll CC you on it, Abby, so you can follow the communication. And
awesome.
I'll ask for both those things to occur.
Excellent. So we have approved the budget for what we want to put forward. We have approved the articles. We still need to produce the report that is due by the 7th. So just keep that in mind. We are likely going to have another special meeting, guys, and to verify what we're putting forward for the town report. So what does schedules look for, you, Dan and Kate? And I see your hand, Crystal. Just give me a moment and I'll get you, okay?
Well, if is there any way that we can do a post workday meeting, even though it's a special meeting this week, Dan? Is there anything that you have available?
this week, Friday, post work Friday.
Yes, Heidi.
I just want to, I'm not sure what report you are referring to. I just want to say that I send the budget and my different documents directly to the auditors to print in your annual report. So you won't need me again. I don't know if there's like an additional director's thing that you.
Yes, you won't have to worry about the special meeting.
Okay.
So,
I just wanted to
okay.
clarify that I wasn't needed again.
Yep.
Okay, thank
Yep.
you.
Thank you. And Crystal, did you have something to add?
I just wanted to say thank you for being proactive with the Zoom issue because budget discussions are stressful. So when you start a meeting out that way, it does make it. I think this meeting was a little more stressful than it needed to be. So thank you for being proactive.
Thank you, Crystal. Okay, so next special meeting, you're saying Friday. Kate, what was your thought on Friday?
I can do. I assume we're talking about 5 p.m., 6 p.m.
Yeah, I could do that.
Okay. Friday night. School
Friday
board
night.
meeting. Who's
So are we
coming?
looking for this Friday? Is that what we're talking, which is, where's I have my phone on here?
I can do this Friday.
Is that what we're talking, is this Friday? I'm just making sure because I gotta make the agenda and
I can
do all the stuff.
any night. Can I? I believe I can do any night this week with a little creativity. So I can be flexible if there's a better night than Friday.
Well, with warning, I think we have to do Wednesday, Thursday, Friday are our options.
For a special meeting, it's 24 hours. So I need at least
Okay.
24 hours to get the agenda posted before the meeting. So
So theoretically, we
that's
could
a
do
lot easier to do when it's a 6 o'clock meeting or sometime than the noon one. That's when I'm bugging you guys in the morning, make sure everything's done because I got to get it out and posted before then. So,
Yeah, let's just keep the
um,
Friday if possible.
okay. So we're talking what time on Friday?
Michael's got his hand up.
Yes, Michael.
I was just wondering who's writing the report.
Well, yeah, I guess I can write the report. Since,
Yeah.
have either of you written the report before?
No.
I usually do the
It's like,
edits.
no, of course not, Abby.
I think I wrote the last one, if I remember correctly, but I usually do edits. But
So if you look at like in the town report, when we have, there's the school director's report and it goes, so we have to also include our information. So it's, if somebody else wants to take a look at that and take that on, that's totally fine with me. But also I get, we are dealing with the holidays and everyone's running around, we're having special meetings. So if you guys would like me to take that on, I will take it on.
Let me.
But
Can I look at it and get back to you? Do I have to do that prior? Is that?
So that's fine. And then what we'll do is if you're like, nope, don't have the time, then I will make sure I have something kind of together for our meeting on Friday. So just this way we can send it out so you guys can review it and all that stuff.
And I'll let you know very shortly.
Fabulous. Okay. And again, so it's Friday, what time?
5.
5 o'clock?
Yeah.
5 o'clock PM. And then we're gonna have to send the recording of this meeting to our minute taker and to BCTV. So for folks that maybe were not able to attend the meeting today, but want to see what transpired, that'll be available to them through BCTV and we can get that sent out. So without further ado, is there anything else that we want to talk about before we reconnect on Friday? Perfect. I move that we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. And thank you to everyone. We kind of had a weird start. I didn't get to thank all the folks that participated in the crafting event that took place yesterday here. The kiddos and everyone did an awesome job, as well as the WCO put on the Meet the Reps, and we had some really good representation there as well. So way to go, Windham, and thank you, everyone. So it is, I gotta say the time. It is 13:51 or 1:51. The meeting is adjourned. So take care. We'll see you guys on Friday.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.